Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are tackling something huge, something that's baked into our DNA and holds so many of us back from really going for it, and that's the fear of failure. But what if it's not the monster we think it is? What if we could actually conquer it? Well, let's dive in. Okay, let's just start right here with this powerhouse of a quote. This really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. Think about that for a second. The biggest regret isn't falling down. It's that moment you chose not to even try to take the first step. You see, fear used to be this brilliant survival tool, right? It protected our ancestors from, a lion hiding in the bushes. But today, that same primal instinct gets confused. Your brain can react to the idea of, say, speaking up in a meeting with the exact same panic as facing that lion. And instead of protecting us, it paralyzes us. It stops us from growing. Sound familiar? That little voice in your head? It's the thing that makes you hesitate right before you think about applying for that new job, or launching that side hustle, or even just signing up for a pottery class. And that voice is so convincing, isn't it? It tells us that staying right where we are is the smart move.
Okay, so let's talk about how our modern world pours gasoline on this fire. It creates this culture where it feels like we just can't afford to make a single mistake.
I mean, a huge piece of this puzzle is social media, isn't it? It creates this impossible standard of perfection. We scroll through and see everyone's finished product, their perfect after photo, and we think we have to be amazing at something from the get-go just to have permission to try.
And then you see a quote like this, and it just shatters that entire illusion. Michael Jordan, maybe the greatest of all time, didn't see failure as the opposite of success. No way. He saw it as a critical, essential part of the journey. Every single one of those missed shots was fuel.
So this brings me to a big question for you, and I want you to really think about this for a second. Are you letting a setback feel like the end of the story? Are you mistaking a stumble for a final, permanent judgment on who you are and what you're capable of? And this is where everything changes. This is the big mental shift. The biggest breakthrough you can have doesn't come from trying to avoid failure. It comes from totally redefining what failure even means. Think about it like this. Remember learning to ride a bike? You absolutely expected to fall, right? And each time you fell, it wasn't a final verdict on your character. It was just data. It was a lesson. Okay, I leaned too far that time. Gotta steer a little differently. That's reframing. It's seeing every setback not as a judgment, but as incredibly valuable feedback. And I love how this slide just lays it out so clearly. Look at the difference. On the left, you've got that old, paralyzing view. A dead end, a final judgment. But on the right, everything changes. A dead end becomes a simple detour. A final judgment becomes data for growth. And a sign of weakness? Nope, it's just a lesson learned. I mean, come on. This has to be one of the most powerful examples of this mindset in all of history. Can you imagine that level of resilience? Thomas Edison didn't see thousands of failures trying to invent the light bulb. He saw 10,000 necessary steps that told him what not to do, getting him that much closer to the one way that would finally work.
So, we've got the mindset down, right? But talking about it is one thing. How do we actually put it into practice? Well, it's all about building what I like to call the courage muscle.
This is so important to get. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about feeling that fear, your heart pounding, your palms sweating, and taking action anyway. And just like any other muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. You don't have to be fearless overnight. You just have to start with one small rep.
So here's a super practical tool you can start using today, the failure journal. But you're not going to use it to dwell on what went wrong. You're going to use it to celebrate. Every time you have a setback, write down what happened, sure, but then you have to write down what you learned, and most importantly, how it helped you grow. This actually retrains your brain to start looking for the lesson, not the loss.
And as you're taking these small, courageous steps, just remember this. It's an idea from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. He talks about how it's the small, consistent actions that compound over time into these huge, extraordinary results. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just progress.
Okay, this brings us to our final part, and honestly, this might be the most powerful piece of the entire puzzle. We're going to connect this whole battle against fear to something way deeper, your purpose.
This mindset from Nelson Mandela, it reveals the secret weapon against the fear of failure. And that secret weapon is having a strong why.
When you are so deeply connected to a mission, a passion, a purpose that's bigger than you, the fear of a single setback just shrinks in comparison. Suddenly, you're not risking it all for applause, you're risking it for meaning.
Think about anyone you truly admire, anyone who has built something meaningful, something that lasts. I guarantee you, at some point on their journey, they failed. And when they failed, they heard that exact same voice of doubt that we all hear, that whisper that says, "See, I told you, maybe you should just quit."
But here's the difference. They didn't let that voice have the final word. They took a breath, they looked for the lesson, and they started again. So the next time that fear whispers in your ear, "Yeah, but what if you fail?" I want you to answer it back with this question. Challenge it. Flip the entire script and dare to imagine the absolute best possible outcome.
And just remember this beautiful thought from Rumi. You don't need to see the entire staircase laid out in front of you. You don't need all the answers before you start. You just need enough courage to take that first step.
Let's leave it with this one final thought. Every time you try something new, every time you stumble and you find the strength to get back up, you're not failing. You are in the process of becoming. You're building resilience, you're gaining wisdom, and you are getting one step closer to the person you were always meant to be.